So please, you got any questions? The more questions you ask, the more we'll get out today. All right. No questions going to be a bad question because I asked plenty in the last one, the junior section. I learned something. So make sure you ask plenty of questions. If you saw somebody else in the room who'll probably want to know the same answer. This is all guaranteed. But yeah, really, really happy to have you here today, mate. And open the floor up.
Cool. So, priority question first. Tweed's part of Queensland hockey.
Correct.
But are we going for Blues or Maroons?
Maroons for me.
That's right. I need to run away then. So, I guess. So, I'll come back to that in a second. So, the last session we covered three key things more from a basics point of view with young umpires. So, positioning, whistle, tone, and how to use your whistle and make it talk. And the third one was around presentation. So I want to use that but more elaborate for seniors hockey a little bit more. But those don't disappear as sort of foundations to what we do at umpiring. Obviously, guys are a bit more advanced and have a bit more brain power. So trying to get to a bit more detail. Resources and expectations. So I think Queensland has a massive history with really successful players. Particularly that last group with Jamie Dwyer, Nathan Langton, and Jason Wilson, those guys where we won a gold medal and that sort of thing. In umpiring world, we're probably just as strong, if not even a little bit stronger. So people like Julie Ashton-Lucy from the Gold Coast, Olympic finals. Jen Hadfield was an umpire manager for a long time. Liam Young's brother Ben Young's done some Commonwealth Games. We've got a massive amount of resources to choose from. I rarely get asked to do these sort of sessions, but don't be afraid to reach out because there's so many people around. And if you don't like me, there'll be someone else that you work better with. There's plenty of ladies umpires who are really, really at the top of the game. We've got the two current Pro League umpires out of Australia, and the only two. We've got the current women's umpires manager for Tokyo, he's part of Australia. The current chair of the Australian Officiating Committee is Lynn Hill. So the resources are awesome. The other problem with that is when we go to tournaments, the standards expected. You come from Queensland, you're going to be good. And when we get to our appointments, just because you're on maybe the bottom two teams, don't think about that when we're umpiring, because often that's the hardest test as an umpire. The top two teams are often really easy to umpire, the lower games, so don't think about your appointments. Changes things. So just overall. So what I want to talk to, a little bit evolving from those three basic ones I talked with the younger guys, communication and how we communicate, what control measures we have, so we'll talk about that a little bit earlier, and game management and how to actually manage games. So a lot of this is more about how do we make it a lot easier as umpires and make the game flow and make it a better event. So how do we take most information in? Is it all the words that I speak that you hear the most? Is it my body language?
Yeah, no worries.
Most of it's non-verbal. Most of the communication, you think that when we're umpiring, we don't talk much, but what you see and what you hear is what the players receive. Okay, so if I'm moving and I'm not that interested, they receive that information. If I blow my wrist really loud, they receive that. It's not verbal. So a lot of this is about how we present ourselves, how we communicate to the players. So the example I did before for some of you, if I turn up to a game, I've got my hat on, put my flannel, and while I'm doing this, I don't expect anyone here to be an international umpire. But what I'm trying to do is give you guys some tools on how to umpire better and easier. So if I turn up like this, give it a sit in, I'm looking around, what's that feel like if you're a player?
Not a lot of confidence.
A lot of confidence. Don't really want to be there. Okay. So, like I said to the kids, I can look like a fool. A lot of us come from we play one game and we umpire the next game. We get that. So I don't expect you the whole game to be professional and all that sort of thing. But when we go and give a decision that matters, we need to present ourselves better. We give a decision and we're like, oh yeah, I don't really give a rat's, but I'll just give it a penalty corner that's going to cost you the game. the respect level you get from players, I'm going to get a reaction. They're going to get angry at me. You know, so like I said to some of the guys, when I go out and I've done Pro League 1 week and I'm coming up by Brisbane Super Grade, I've still got to umpire and give them the respect, because for some of these guys, they're trying their absolute best and they're giving everything they can. If I don't give them the respect and present and umpire well, that's not really fair on them either. At the same time, when I go and present, I go, yep, that was a corner over here, it's a big decision, here it is. Everyone trusts me, I don't get any arguments from it. And they go, oh, great, we've got Kearns here today, we're going to have a good game, I don't have to worry about umpiring. Okay, so there's a few facets to it. When we go and present, we make life easier for ourselves, we show a lot more respect, and we get a lot more trust in the players. Okay, so I get, we come off the field, we're still in some of our playing gear, but the moment when we have to give the decision, that's when we want to present and show respect and sell a decision sometimes. Talked a little bit about, sometimes we give a big decision and we're not real sure about ourselves. If that's happening for me, all the more reason I'm going to sell it, I'm going to be really big, going, there was a stick check over here, I'm pretty sure about it. No one knows what's going on in here, but the perception that they see is all over this. Okay? And you've got their trust. But give a reason, it stops them having a reason to complain. They go, oh, what's that for? I've already told you, boys. There's a stick check over here, it's the foot. So I'm presenting myself, I'm being proactive with it, and it makes life easier. So before I get too far, this guy, does anyone recognise him, remember him? He's a soccer umpire.
I do.
Colina. Italian guy, had the best facial language you've ever seen. I actually met the guy in Argentina one day. So hockey flies in, we're on cattle class and the back we're playing. Brazil were playing Argentina and soccer in Buenos Aires at the same time. These guys all suits, front, first class. He retired and we're in the gym. He's running his guts out, he's fit out, he's actually got tall. He used to look like about this big to the players. Body language and facial language is just amazing. It's really, really good. Control measures. Give me some control measures that we can use in the game. When you're having trouble in the game.
Whistle time.
Whistle time. Someone was listening last night.
Gestures,
Yep. Cards. So what do you do when you're having trouble with players? You've got cards. What else can you do? Yeah. Captains is no. It's not rugby league, but we can still use the captains. Particularly if you've got a player who isn't going to listen to anything I say. They're just so steamed up and angry and had a bad week. If I go and talk to them, is that going to achieve much? Probably not. They're probably going to yell at me even more. If we go and talk to the captain and go, hey buddy, I'm in a bit of trouble here with your player. Either I can do something about it or can you have a chat to him because you're probably not going to have someone on the field soon. What's going to work better for me? He's going to go, right, I'm not happy, I'm going to lose players. That's going to probably work better for me. So recognising the players and understanding a bit. If Liam DeYoung yelled at me when he was playing, I probably got it wrong because he was such a nice guy. Then there's other guys who just yell at me every day, yeah, whatever it was. So you know your players. You guys umpire with a regional association, so everyone sort of knows each other a bit. You're going to know if someone's upset, if that's normal, or if, wait a minute, I've probably got something wrong. So reading body language and that sort of thing can go a long way. You're going to know people from other teams. Can I have a talk to them? When I go there with a test match, I learn how to say hello in the captain's language. And the minute I do that, they're saying, oh wow, he actually knows something about it. So they normally say something back, I go, I don't know what you're talking about. But I've at least made an effort to show them a bit of respect. And then I'll generally have a bit of a laugh about it with them. And suddenly we've got a relationship. I only have a space for a couple of seconds. But they know me and then later on when I need to go and talk to them, I've got something to work with. I've got a tie in already to go, hey, I need your help here. And you're not starting cold. It's like any business meeting, you have an icebreaker. Talk about the brains. You get people's attention, get them involved. So that can help you a long way. So control measures. And this is where in senior hockey, and particularly early in the season, life's good. And And particularly we come to regional centres and we get to the middle of the year and people start to get frustrated, we're starting to find out I didn't make a rep team or our team's not going so good. Now it's about the time you start to get a few things starting to develop in associations, and controlling these things and being proactive, like I talked about, is the time it starts to become really useful. And recognising, wait a minute, okay, this team's having a bit of trouble, am I likely to walk into stuff today? If I'm really proactive with them, can I work with them and get them on side so we don't end up with blow-ups or cards later on in the day? Does that make sense, guys? So, some of the things we can do. Cards, body language we've touched on, whistle tone, talked a lot about, and I'm a really big advocate for. I don't talk a lot when I'm umpiring, but my gosh, when I blow my whistle, I'll get your attention. I talk with my whistle. So remember the very first slide about where we receive communication? I don't need to talk. My missus jokes when my fire grows, I'm getting angry and I'm starting to ball down at people. People know. But then I go from being up here to step back down. You can't just stay all the way up here because everyone just thinks, oh, you're grumpy forever. So having the tools to come in and go, yep, I want to deal with something, I'm not happy with you. And then you come back and we've got a penalty tomorrow, okay boys, it's going to get ready. I'll jump back down. So I'll give them a message. Okay, now I've got a relationship going on again. So body language and using your whistle tone, and like I said to the young guys, if I blow a short whistle, or something like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, what's that normally mean? Are you in trouble? No, but I need you to move the ball somewhere. I want your attention. Versus I've got a really hard, long, loud whistle, I'm not happy about something. And I want everyone on the field to look at me. So if I blow a little whistle, yep, it's a free hit. I don't expect you to look up. If I want everyone on the field to look at me, it's going to be a big decision. I'm not happy about it. Either way, I want everyone to look at me. So I'm still communicating. I don't have to say a word, but my whistle is talking. And yeah,
Sorry, mate, sorry. So as a general rule for an umpire, so you engage with the captain on the field. You don't even engage with, say the right wing comes up to you and you want to have a decision, you don't really engage with him, do you?
nah,
So
it's only when we've got a bit of trouble going on and go, hey, and you might choose, as a player, if I go and talk to him, like if I talk to my young 5-year-old, he's distraught, he's upset daddy. So there's some players who go directly to and they go, yep, I'm sorry guys. And there's other players who go, you know what, I can say all I want and then I'm going to hear a ding. That's when I go to the captain.
Yeah.
So you got to choose your moment and who you want to do it with.
I think, I think it's honestly in the, Brisbane or down here, I think you can see a little bit of that where anyone can think they can say whatever they want to the umpire. I think that's a bit of a challenge for some of the guys sometimes.
Yep.
And I agree, I think you really should be the captain to a certain degree.
Agreed.
Because then it gets too messy.
Okay, so part of what I'll touch on that a little bit when we start talking about game management and how we manage games.
Yeah.
So other things we can do, we can upgrade things. But when we used to upgrade to 10 metres, I'm pretty sure that's gone now, but you can upgrade to penalty corner, or something that we have a lot in Brisbane is you give a card, I might give a yellow card for a bad tackle, and this guy's walking off, you're an F and whatever, yeah. I'll upgrade that every day. It's not acceptable. We've got to draw a line in the sand somewhere. But what you need to think about with upgrades is that going to make the situation worse and inflame things more? Often people go to cards as their first option, and what I'm trying to give here is you've got a range of things you can use, not just going to cards. We can talk to captains, I can use body language, I can use whistles. There's tools in the book before we start going up the hierarchy of, I'm just going straight to yellow and suddenly everyone at the game's filling this. One of the things when to give a card, if you've got a bunch of teams and they're starting to do this and start to look like a state origin game, I'll give the card, I've got time off, I'm going to take all the time in the world to walk back, I'm going to write down, I'm going to take a lot of time. You look up and you watch the players and they're and there, take a little time. I've done stupid things like go and check a corner flag. By the time I've finished, everyone's had a couple of breaths. Okay, and you can see the shoulders drop and you take the momentum out of the game. With the 2-minute green card, often everyone fires it off. Yep, it'll get off and we'll keep rolling and 2 seconds later we've got another green card. People don't think about that. That's where we're getting into game management and going, okay, how do I actually manage the game and take the heat out of the game a little bit? So there's things we can do. I'll keep talking about that in a second. setting standards early, which is what I want to keep the game management, having empathy. So we're grand final time, I'm giving a penalty stroke in the last minute. I showed a video before, I might pull it up a bit later for the time. Do you expect everyone to be upset? Of course they're going to be, you're deciding the game. So if you're a really hard umpire, you go, oh, stuff you, penalty corner, and they come at you and you go, okay, I'll get stuff. There's no empathy in that. Understand the context of the situation. Okay, yep, they're going to be upset. Right, give them a moment, get in a bit of space. We're talking about game management. Understand what is driving things. Okay, I've done dishes at home. I have a go at the missus. Suddenly she's barking at me. Like, okay, why is she barking at me? It's just because I did this. There's something else going on here. Have a think about it. Have some empathy, understanding what's driving things in the background. Timing can be a really big one. So, reading the play, when we blow a free hit, you've waited for them, and they've got to the circle, and I've blown a free hit for a free hit outside the 25. Is that good timing? And what's that going to do? It's going to create a lot of frustration. So we know sometimes when you have an overhead, a really quick free hit opens the game up and lets them go on attack. So that whistle timing is really important versus trying to play advantage. Or going, yep, that's a free hit, I can see this guy's about to come up and crunch it, and if I give the free hit straight away, I'm going to stop something from happening. Getting that whistle timing and reading the play can have a really big difference. Frustration I sort of touched on a little bit. I'm going to show you a little video here. Hopefully it works. Last one threw us to somewhere else. I might jump out. Did one. Thank you. Sorry. Sorry guys, I just lost my sound.
Look at the
Come back. So, does everyone know of FH Umpires on Facebook? So there's a Canadian girl who's very North American, so they're very, very detailed. But she's an ex-international umpire. She's got to 99 games, not quite 100 matches. We get 100 matches to get a gold medal international. It's a pretty big feat. But she's now an umpire manager and she runs FH Umpires. So she puts a lot of clips up on Facebook that are really useful clips. And during Corona, she got a lot of us international umpires to go on and review a whole game. So the last test match I umpired was in February last year between Spain and New Zealand. Spain, home in Spain was going crazy with Corona. And the Spanish boys have been on about a 6-week tour of South America and then to New Zealand and were really scared